Conjunctions. Conjunctions are actually words which help connect either two other words or two sentences and help express a thought in a very concise and crisp manner. There are some interesting conjunctions to use and some basic conceptual clarity which today's video is going to provide to you. Let's start with the first conjunction that we are all familiar with, that is and but. Okay, so these are the two conjunctions we will talk about. Now, there is a very clear difference between the usage of these two. And is used when we are talking about similar ideas or concepts, but is used when you do something which is in contradiction to the original idea. So let's take some examples to understand this better. Okay, essentially when I say that I have gone to the mall and I shopped a lot, so there is a logical conclusion. Obviously, if you went to the mall, the next logical thing to do is to shop. So I went to the mall and I shopped. Okay, but suppose you go to the mall and you decide against any kind of shopping, so then you will say I went to the mall but I did not shop for anything. Okay, now let's take one more example. Okay, if you're running after a vehicle, okay, the logical thing to do there would be to get onto that vehicle. So he chased the bus but he missed the bus. So when it is in contradiction, you use but. He chased the bus and successfully boarded the bus. So the logical thing to do was to chase it and to board it. So there you ended up using the conjunction and. But when something in contradiction happened, you missed the bus. That is the instance when you used but. There are certain conjunctions like so, as, since, because, which are all for reason. So let's understand the use of these conjunctions. Okay, now if I say a sentence that it was raining, so I pulled out my umbrella. Now here, the reason preceded the event. The reason that it rained preceded the event of opening the umbrella. That is why I ended up using the conjunction so. Otherwise, these were two independent sentences, right? So ended up joining them, okay? And logically so. Now, the other way round would be, basically, I pulled out my umbrella because it was raining. Now, when the reason follows later and the event comes first, we end up using the conjunction because. We can also use as or since here. As in, I pulled out my umbrella as or since it was raining. So, when the reason comes first, you will actually end up using so. If the reason follows later, you will use the conjunction because, as, or since. When you're faced with choices, then the conjunction to use is or. Now, a very common question asked is, would you prefer tea or coffee? So there you go, you have options, or I would prefer any beverage or tea or coffee. So there you go. Whenever you have options, or is the conjunction to use. Next up, we have time. Whenever we have time, at that point we use the conjunction after, before, or when. Now this is very simple to understand, okay, through the following explanation. When an event happens at that very moment, then you will end up using the conjunction when. If the event is going to happen later, you will use the conjunction after. Or basically, if the event is conditional, you will use the conjunction after. Or if the event has happened before, earlier in time, you will use the conjunction before. So if I say that I will hand over the cash when I receive the product, which means at that very moment. So when is the conjunction which has been used. If you're going to say that I will hand over the money before I receive the product, which means you are comfortable, you are willing to wait for the product later, and you're doing it earlier than expected. So as far as time is concerned, since it was before the actual event, you ended up using the conjunction before. Okay, if something is going to happen later than the event, for instance, I will hand over the cash after I receive the product. Here after is indicating that the event is over and the next step will happen later on. So there you go. As far as conjunction of time is concerned, you have when, before and after. In Hindi, we have a word halaki. Okay, and in the English equivalent for this word would be although, though, or even though. While they are more or less similar in usage, but even though is used when there is a stark contrast. Okay, now let me give you some examples to explain what I'm trying to say. So, although I ran fast, I missed the bus, or although I ran fast, okay, yet I missed the bus, okay, or for that matter, though I ran fast, I missed the bus, okay, but even though can be used for a stark contrast. Even though the truck collided with the scooter, yet no one was hurt, which means even though was used in a situation where something happened which defied logic, which was logically not sounding right, yet in this case it was a happy event, but logically it didn't make sense. Even though the impact of the accident was significant, yet everyone survived. Okay, so even though is used as stark contrast situations. Okay, so halaki, we have though, although and even though. As far as the conjunction yet is concerned, I would like to give you all two explanations. One is yet as a conjunction, the other one is yet as an adverb. So if I'm going to say, I'm unwell, yet I went for the event, I'm actually using it like a conjunction because it's joining two sentences. I'm unwell and I went for the event. Okay, so yet acted as a joining word. It played the role of a conjunction. But think about when we are talking about it in this scenario. I have yet not received the parcel. So there you go, where you don't have it playing the role of a joining word. In fact, it is further qualifying the action here. I have yet not received. Okay, abhi tak in Hindi, yet not. So here you're using it as an adverb talking about the verb received. Okay, so be very clear in usage. When yet is used as fir bhi, okay, मैं बीमार थी, I was unwell, yet I went for the event. Here फिर भी is the joining word, and अब तक, okay, basically somewhere where you are using it as an adverb. Okay, I have yet not got the answer to my question.